Alright, this is my review for my wife's Bintelli Beast. It's a great little bike. It's a scooter, whereas my Honda Gram's considered a motorcycle, even though they're about the same size. Yeah, I'm kind of a gearhead. Harley just isn't here right now. Anyway, we bought this thing, I don't know, I'd say 2 months ago, maybe 3. And we bought it for $2,050. And when we bought it, before we brought it home, we had them do the 83cc/100cc big bore kit. They just put the different cam in there because they said the 100cc big bore kit would roach the bottom end within 500 miles. And we didn't want to do that, so they just said they'll do the 83cc and it'll be a longevity thing. It'll last a lot longer. So what we've had done to it was that. And then I hollowed out the exhaust pipe. I drilled out all the rivets that were in it here, and when I drilled all those out to remove the crap here that was in the exhaust pipe, it opened it up so it breathes a little bit better, at least exhales a little better. The next upgrade coming to it is going to be a replacement carburetor that's going to be off a bigger scooter. So hopefully that bigger throttle body will help this thing get some more speed. I've replaced the stock shock because it was too tall, so I went with a fully adjustable shock I found on Amazon.com for pretty cheap. I think it was like 10 bucks. The other thing was I did a Honda Gram Fender delete kit like I have on mine, only hers I got turn signals for hers and they work. They pretty much plug and play, pretty simple. The plastics on this thing stock are garbage. They're essentially painted white plastic. I don't know what they're made out of, but they're very fragile. So I replaced this portion here with the Honda Gram, because when we pulled the Bintelli Beast stickers off the other side, there's a huge crack that ran up this way. And there's still a crack on the other side that runs down this way on the bottom piece, but we'll replace that as needed. The brakes on this are really good. It has disc front, drum rear. It's a very small drum. So this is your front brake, like the Gram. This is your rear brake. The Gram has a clutch, clutch and front brake. The dashboard is roughly the same. The whole front end is Honda Gram knockoff. So I don't know that the quality is quite there because this headlight is pretty weak and the turn signals are, they're turn signals. I did pull off all the Bintelli stuff that was over this Batman shield, and then I pulled off that dirt bike front fender. This is a Honda Gram front fender, bolted right on. One of the next upgrades is going to be braided brake lines, because like the Honda Grams, these things swell when you hit the brakes too hard. She's added a little skull and we've plastered at the ends here, but like I said, same thing dash wise, not the same plug and play though. I've had this all apart to try and figure out why the speedo doesn't work anymore, and the gas gauge never worked even when we got it new. The guys at Grand Rapids Scooter here in Grand Rapids have been phenomenal with trying to help us with stuff. They're ordering us a new speedo cable or whatever we need for that sensor, and they're going to help us get that in so I can replace that. I did loosen these bolts here, and I dropped this, this 2 inches or 2.5, whatever it is, and it stops at the bars. So her front end's lower, as well as the rear shock I did on the back end. She has roughly a 25 to 26 inch inseam where she can ride this thing now perfectly. We plastidiped this with just the rattle can plastidip stuff up there. Plastidiped this, and we plastidiped this whole bottom fairing. So now it's all flat black, the whole bike is, which makes it look really cool. When we get our carburetor upgrade, I'm going with an air filter, and I'm getting rid of that stupid air box that's useless. I mean, it's purposeful with the bike the way it is stock, but we want more speed, therefore we need to rejet the carburetor, bigger carburetor, and get rid of that box. She added the little saddlebags. They're just off a Bought them at Myers. But the mirrors on the bike are really cool. You know, they do their job for what they're supposed to be. Whereas I think I can get away with going with bar end mirrors, like I did on my ground. These just flip open and flip shut so I can get in my garage door when we come home from rides. The bintelli people on Facebook haven't really responded to any messages or questions I've ever sent them. They always just kind of forward me over to my local rep in my area, which is good, but it'd be nice if they just answer some questions when I ask them. So they haven't been the most helpful, but my local dealership has. It's Grand Rapids Scooters, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I don't have their phone number off the top of my head. Props to those guys. Like I said, a bunch of good people, really good people, know their stuff. They do all their upgrades in-house. They have all the parts to kind of help you. We did change out the pulley setup and the stock rollers to sliders, and we went from 4.5 stock to 4.5 gram to 5 gram stock rollers into sliders, and we upgraded the pulley setup to the Dr. Pulley thing. So that's all upgraded in there, but it's still not got any off the line gusto. It still kind of falls on its face. So we're going to go to 7 gram, see what that does. As far as fairings wise, the fairings are the same as my Honda Groms, which is kind of nice. So it's going to be easy to find replacement parts, at least for the upper half. The seat is the same. So if you hate your Honda Grom seat and you want to get one of these for your wife, and you upgraded your Grom seat, you might want to upgrade your wife's bintelli seat to the whatever works for the 14 through 16 Honda Groms. As I said, the bolt-on kit's all the same in the rear. So this luggage rack she has, I'm going to get one for my Honda Grom, just because it's pretty handy to have. Bike looks pretty nice from the rear. Pretty much looks just like my Grom, except for the motor being above in front of the rear tire. The tires are phenomenal on this, the Fender brand tires. So they're, you know, regular full-size motorcycle branded tires. Whereas my V rubbers on my Honda Grom, when it gets wet, they get slippery, and they're not the greatest. But you know, you can't have it all. Turn signals, like I said, work. They were plug and play. Her button layout is really interesting on this. She's got the cheapy looking plastic yellow button for the horn. It's in a different place from mine. And her start button's really kind of oddball looking. You can tell there was a switch of some sort they wanted to put here, but they didn't, because who knows why. I'm thinking all this Honda Grom stuff, if I really wanted to and wanted to get into soldering, I could wire right over. She does have her passing light, or whatever they call it, which is kind of nice for if you're trying to get someone's attention that's in front of you. Just hit this and your headlight will blink at them. Whereas on my bike, I don't have any of that. I got nothing. So I couldn't get anyone's attention if they were behind me, or in front of me rather. Her bike has really nice tires, really nice spark plug. It's running a little lean right now with the exhaust job that I did on it. Changed out all the crap that's inside. The rivets that were in here, I don't know if I hinted on those at all, but I drilled those out, tapped these holes with a tap set, and then I ran nuts in there, and then just repainted the whole thing. Same thing with the front. I drilled all the rivets out just because they don't hold worth of crap. The stock bolts on this, these guys, if they're this color, count on rounding them off if you ever have to take them off. So be very careful, get the right size wrench, because that's what held my shock on. And when I changed out the shock, I pretty much stripped them things just trying to get them out, and I was using the right size wrench. So they're junk. I replaced them with just regular old stainless steel bolts, which if I ever have to take these off, that's what I'll do. To get your exhaust off, you pretty much take this screw off, drill out your rivets. Well, you know, you can slide your muffler, just slides on. Surprisingly, there's no clamp here. I'm really kind of surprised by that. So as you can tell, I got exhaust that's leaking forward, which I'm probably going to put a slit in there and then a hose clamp on it, and that'll probably solve that problem. But anyway, take that bolt out, slide your exhaust off, drill out your rivets, and you're going to have a hell of a time bashing that stuff, because these are, there's a little tack weld on the inside part, on the bottoms, front and back, You don't have to take the front off. I just did because I didn't know any better. But the back, and then you've got a bash. This is a plastic shroud that's held on by 2 Allen keys here. Those come off, this comes off, but this metal part is wedged into this. So you're gonna have to beat it off with a hammer. As you can tell, I kind of whacked this guy. He's odd shaped, but that doesn't matter. There's no hole that goes through it, just here and here is all that goes through. So no harm, no foul on that. Hollowed out the exhaust, it's much louder now, so I don't have to worry about a car not hearing her coming, or pulling when they're pulling past her. Right now, with all our modifications, we've got the pulley, the sliders, the hollowed out exhaust, and we did the 1500 RPM clutch springs, because I guess stock they're 3000 maybe, or 2500, I don't know, they're higher. And that was trying to get more off the line. I'm probably going to see if there's a 1000 RPM clutch spring. If there is, I'm going to change it out. That'll give her more off the line, because right now this thing, like I said, falls flat on its face. You give it gas and it does not want to go worth a crap, but we'll fix that. The key location is the same as the Honda ground. There's one there, and then there's the one down there for your seat. Pop your seat off. They're a lot different underneath the seats, obviously. This one has a battery under the seat. This one has a battery that's right there behind that fairing. Great little bike though, great little scooter. Like I said, she gets about 40-41 miles an hour. Gas gauge didn't work from the dealer, unfortunately, not their fault. And now the speedo's not working, but like I said, they're ordering us new parts for that, and I'll have that all swapped over and see if that solves it. Otherwise, I'm just going to direct solder all the wiring and get rid of the little plastic clips in there that are just really cheap. This bike is, it's I hate to say cheap, but the plastics are cheap. The connectors underneath the headlight are all kind of cheap. The headlight itself is kind of weak, whereas the Honda Grounds isn't the best, but it's better than this. So this will probably get the Honda Ground headlight when I upgrade mine just to a regular LED, or I'll upgrade them both to LEDs and just call it a day. It does the job, it just could do it better. But I have truly, it sounds like I do, but I truly don't have any complaints. The wife loves this thing. We ride it all over the time, all over the place. We ride it from downtown Grand Rapids out to Gun Lake Casino and back. And we're in 45 and 55 mile an hour zones, but not for long enough to be a concern. Yeah, so other than that, stock bars, a lot of stock stuff on here for right now. We'll slowly upgrade it. Her goal is eventually to move on to this. She wants her own Honda Ground that we're going to trick out and do all kinds of cool stuff with, and then we're going to get her a motorcycle full size. But this is her learner bike, whereas actually she started off with one of the little Baja Warriors over there. Both those are sweet little bikes, but they're just for camping. This is actually street legal, and like I said, does about 40 miles an hour. So yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, and I'll try and answer them as soon as I can. Other than that, keep your wheels on the ground, have fun.